Hello, my dear students. Today we are gonna see the problem solving part of chapter number 7. In this chapter, the very first question we are gonna solve is about locational arbitrage. In locational arbitrage, you need to find out if you can buy a particular foreign currency at a cheaper rate from a particular bank and then sell that particular currency at a higher rate at another bank. Okay, so in this case we have two banks. One is Akron and another one is Zin. And then here you can see from Akron Bank you can buy New Zealand dollar at 64 cents. But then you can sell this New Zealand dollar at 0.645 $5 in Zin Bank. So you can see the spread between these two rate is 0.005. So from this particular example, it is very clear that you can buy New Zealand dollar at a cheaper rate from Akron Bank and then sell it to Zin Bank at a higher rate. So we have the opportunity for locational arbitrage here. Now, to solve problems for locational arbitrage, we need to follow two steps. In step number 1, we buy a currency at the location where it is priced cheap, and then we immediately sell it at another location where it is priced higher. Then let us follow both of these steps. Now we are going to buy New Zealand dollar from Akron Bank, and then we are going to invest in total $10,000. Now we need to find out how many New Zealand dollar we are going to get per dollar. So here you can see $1 is equivalent to 1.5625 New Zealand dollar. So now we know the exchange rate of dollar for New Zealand dollar. So using the exchange rate, we are going to convert our $10,000 into New Zealand dollar. And then the total number of dollars we are going to get is 15,625. So this is our beginning investment value in New Zealand dollar. Now in step number 2, we are going to sell at another location, which is Zin Bank, at $0.645 per New Zealand dollar. So we have in total 15,625 New Zealand dollar, and the value of these New Zealand dollars in US dollar is $10,078. Now you can see we invested how much? We invested $10,000, and then we end up with $10,078. So from this particular transaction, our total profit in US dollar is $78. Okay, that is the first problem. Now let us do a problem on triangular arbitrage. In triangular arbitrage, we take the arbitrage opportunity for mismatch between the calculated cross exchange rate from the direct exchange rate and the market cross exchange rate. Okay, now here we have the direct exchange rate for British pound and Malaysian ringgit, and then we have the cross exchange rate between British pound and Malaysian ringgit. Okay, now just to check if we have any triangular arbitrage, we need to first calculate cross exchange rate from the direct exchange rate, and then we are gonna compare the calculated cross exchange rate with the market cross exchange rate. If there is any mismatch, then we have the arbitrage opportunity. If calculated cross exchange rate is exactly the same as the market cross exchange rate, only then we don't have any arbitrage opportunity. All right. So first, let us calculate the cross exchange rate between pound and Malaysian ringgit. So here you can see for each pound, you should get 8 Malaysian ringgit based on the calculated cross exchange rate. Okay. And remember, the formula for cross exchange rate is discussed in chapter number 3. And we use the formula from that chapter here to calculate the cross exchange rate from the direct exchange rate. Okay. Now, in step number 2, let us compare. So here, if you compare, based on the direct cross exchange rate, calculated cross exchange rate, each pound worth just 8 Malaysian ringgit. Whereas based on the market cross exchange rate, each pound is equivalent to 8.1 Malaysian ringgit. So here, based on the information, our pound in the calculated cross exchange rate is undervalued, whereas Malaysian ringgit in our calculated cross exchange rate is overvalued. Remember, in a exchange rate, if you have a particular currency overvalued, then obviously its counterpart is undervalued. Whereas if a particular currency is undervalued, then its counterpart is overvalued. So here, our conclusion is pound is undervalued, whereas Malaysian ringgit is overvalued in the calculated cross exchange rate. Okay. Now in step number 3, we are going to convert our US dollar into undervalued currency based on the direct exchange rate. So our direct exchange rate between pound and dollar is 1 pound is equivalent to $1.60. All right. So now, because we have just dollar at our hand, we need to know how much pound we are going to get per dollar. Here you can see per dollar is equivalent to 0.625 pound. Okay. Now, using this exchange rate, we are going to convert our $10,000 into pound. So our beginning investment value in pound is how much? $6,250. Okay. Now we are going to convert our pound into overvalued non-US currency using the market cross exchange rate. Okay. So let me go back to step number 2, and here you can see Malaysian ringgit is overvalued. So we are going to convert our investment value into Malaysian ringgit because that is the one which is overvalued. Okay. So Here, based on the market cross exchange rate, each pound is equivalent to 8.1 Malaysian ringgit. So we are gonna use this exchange rate to convert our pound into Malaysian ringgit. So investment value in Malaysian ringgit is equivalent to 50,625. Now we are going to convert our Malaysian ringgit into US dollar using the direct exchange rate. That is the very last step. And then here you can see Malaysian ringgit. Each Malaysian ringgit is equivalent to 20 cents. So we are using that exchange rate to convert Malaysian ringgit into dollar. Then our ending investment value is now 10,125. Now for your information, we started with how much? We started with $10,000. That's the amount we converted into a pound at the very first step, right? Whenever we are converting. So our $10,000 at the end of our arbitrage cycle is now 10,125. So our profit from this triangular arbitrage in US dollar is $125. All right. Now, in question number 3, we are going to consider the bid-ask spread. Okay. Before you consider bid-ask spread, just for a moment, forget about this bid-ask spread. Say you just have the bid price. That is the only price that is available in the market. That means bid price is equivalent to ask price. There is no spread, nothing. Now, in that scenario, your cross exchange rate between pound and Malaysian ringgit is how much? 8. So each pound is equivalent to 8 Malaysian ringgit. Whereas in the market, each pound is equivalent to how much? 8.1 Malaysian ringgit. So again, because our calculated cross exchange rate is different from the market cross exchange rate, therefore we have some arbitrage opportunity. Now, this is just in a scenario where bid price is equivalent to ask price. Now, whenever we are going to calculate the profit, we are going to consider this bid and ask spread and see how our profit is squeezed because of this bid and ask spread. So let us start. Again, we are going to follow the standard steps we have for triangular arbitrage. So we just have 5 steps, right? Okay, in step number 1, we are going to calculate our cross exchange rate based on direct exchange rate. And whenever we are going to calculate, we are going to just forget about bid ask spread. We are going to assume that bid price is equivalent to the ask price. So there is just bid price in the market, no ask price. Okay. Based on the bid price, our calculated cross exchange rate is 1 pound is equivalent to 8 Malaysian ringgit. In step number 2, now we are going to compare our calculated cross exchange rate with market cross exchange rate. So again, the conclusion here is pound is undervalued, whereas Malaysian ringgit is overvalued in the calculated cross exchange rate. Okay, so now we know from our experience in question number 2, we are going to convert our US dollar into pound because pound is undervalued in our calculated cross exchange rate. Okay, so now whenever we are going to convert from here on, from step number 3, we are going to now consider bid and ask spread. Okay, so now here we are going to buy pound, and if you want to buy pound, you have to pay the ask price to the dealer. So using the ask price, $1 is equivalent to 0.6211 pound. Now, using this exchange rate, our beginning investment value is how much? $6,211. Okay. Now, we are going to convert our investment value in pound into the overvalued non-US currency using the market cross exchange rate. First of all, which one is our overvalued non-US currency? Based on the conclusion in step number 2, Malaysian ringgit is overvalued. So we are going to convert our pound into Malaysian ringgit using the market price. Now, in this case, we are going to sell pound because we already have the pound, right? And we have to convert it. So we are going to sell. So if you sell, you are going to get what price? You are going to get the bid price. So investment value in Malaysian ringgit at the bid price is equal to 50,309. Okay. Now, in the very last step, we are going to convert our Malaysian ringgit into dollar. So again, in this case, what you are going to do? You are going to sell. You're going to sell Malaysian ringgit. If you want to sell, what you are going to get in the market? You are going to get the bid price. So here the bid price is how much? 20 cents per dollar. So using that exchange rate, our ending investment value is $10,061, and then our profit from this triangular arbitrage is $61. Now, using the similar problem without any bid ask spread in question number 2, our profit was $125. However, in question number 3, we just introduced the bid ask spread, and you can see our profit actually decreased from $125 to $61 because of this bid ask spread. Now, if you consider just the bid price in step number 1 and step number 2 to calculate the cross exchange rate and compare it to the market cross exchange rate, probably you may have some location triangular arbitrage opportunity. However, once you consider bid ask spread in step number 3, 4, and 5, you may or may not get the triangular arbitrage profit. Okay, now in question number 4, we are going to do covered interest rate arbitrage. In covered interest rate arbitrage, we take opportunity of high interest rate in a foreign country. Now, in this case, you can see United States just offer 2% interest, whereas United Kingdom offers 4% interest. So, of course, a foreign country for a US person is offering higher interest rate. So that US person may be tempted to make profit from covered interest arbitrage. All right. So to calculate profit, these are the steps we are going to follow to see if we indeed have any profit potential from here. So in step number 1, we are going to convert the low interest rate currency into high interest rate currency. So we are going to convert low interest rate currency dollar into high interest rate currency pound. And then our exchange rate here is now per pound is equivalent to $1.60. Now we need to know how much pound we are going to get per dollar. So using the exchange rate, each pound is equivalent to $0.625, right? So our beginning investment value in pound is now equivalent to 500,000 pounds. All right. Then in step number 2, we are going to sell forward contract. That means we are going to know like at what price we can convert our pound into dollars. So we are selling forward contract on a foreign currency. That means we are now selling a forward contract. So our forward contract rate here is, as you can see, each pound is equivalent to how much? $1.60. Yeah. So now we have our pound and we are going to invest it at 4% interest rate in the United Kingdom. Now, based on that, let us see how much profit we make. So our investment value is $520,000. Okay. So after the 90-day investment period, we are going to convert our pound, which is 520,000 pound, into dollar. And the rate we are going to get is the forward contract rate, which is 1 pound is equivalent to $1.60. So at this rate, our $520,000 ending investment value in pound is equivalent to $832,000. Now you can see we started with how much? We started with $800,000 and we end up with $832,000. So our profit in this case is $32,000. All right. Now in our next problem, we are going to consider the bid and ask spread. Okay. Now, in this case, you can see the interest rate in the United States is 6%, whereas the interest rate in the Europe is 6.50%. So you can see here, we can get high interest rate in a foreign country. That means we can do the covered interest rate arbitrage. Now, let us now check if we make any profit from this locational arbitrage once we consider bid and ask spread. Again, we are going to follow the same steps. We are going to convert US dollar into pound and our investment value is $100,000. And here, based on the spot rate, we know each euro is equivalent to $1.12 if we want to buy, and if you want to sell, this is the amount. If you want to buy, this is the amount, $1.13, and if you want to sell, we are going to sell at $1.12. Okay. So in this case, we are going to buy, right? So we are going to buy at what rate? At the ask rate. So at the ask rate of $1.13, each euro is equivalent to 0.8850 dollar. Okay. So in this case, it should be $1 is equivalent to 0.8850 euro. All right. Now, let us see the value of our beginning investment. Now, our beginning investment amount according to the problem is $100,000. So each dollar is equivalent to 0.8850 euro. Then beginning investment value in euro at this exchange rate should be equivalent to 88,500 euro. All right. Now we have the euro, right? And in the future, we want to sell the euro. If you want to sell the euro, then what price you need to, what price you're gonna get? You're gonna get the bid price, and the bid price is $1.12. So this is the forward contract rate we have. Now we have our euro, and we are gonna invest it at the European interest rate, which is 6.50%. So at 6.50%, our investment value is €94,253. 53 euro. Now we are going to convert our ending investment value in euro into US dollar using the forward contract rate. And for your information, our forward contract rate is $1.12 per euro. Now, using the exchange rate, our ending investment value in dollar is equal to $105,563. And for your information, we started with how much dollar? $100,000. So our profit here is $5,563. And then if you are interested to know your profit percentage, then you can calculate your profit as percentage of your initial investment. So here your profit is 5,563, and then your investment is $100,000. So your profit is 5.563%. All right, now we are going to calculate forward premium. Okay. So this is the formula that we are going to use to calculate forward premium. Now, according to the formula, you need to know the home country interest rate, foreign country interest rate, then you can actually calculate your forward premium. Now here you can see the Mexico interest rate is 6%, whereas the United States interest rate is 5%. Now, based on this information, we can just plug in numbers here. So here, home country interest rate is how much? 5%, whereas the foreign country interest rate is 6%. So the discount should be negative 0.94%. So this is what the value of P. Now we're going to calculate our forward rate using the discount we calculated. So here, according to the formula, forward rate is equal to spot rate times 1 plus premium. This premium could be positive, could be negative. If P is positive, then it is premium. If P is negative, then it is discount. In this case, we have discount because our P is negative here. All right. Now, according to the problem, spot rate is how much? 10 cents per peso. Then apply this discount rate over the spot rate for peso, and then you're going to get the forward rate. So forward rate is equal to 0.09906 dollar per peso. That's all from chapter number 7. Thank you for watching. You have a nice day.